You're welcome to the 7th video in this series, and in this video we'll be learning how to work with our 3D character and how to make it move. In the 5th video we created the character, but we're going to go ahead to delete it for those who didn't understand how everything was done. So I'll just go ahead and go to my scenes and go to my player, and I'm going to just delete him again. Alright, so when I delete him, alright, so this is the scene that we created, the player scene that we created in the 5th video. So we're deleting it right now and we're going to create a new one. So in case you didn't understand that, we can do it from the scratch again. So I'll go down to my assets and go down to my player and double click on my player and just click on open anywhere. So once I open it, I'll go back to my one view and I have my character just right there in front of me there. So with my character, you see how the character looks like, how we imported it. If you want to import, you go to the video for import. I think that should be the 4th video in the series. So here we'll have the player. The first thing you want to do once you bring in your player is to change this. Change the type from the spatial node that it is into a kinematic body. So a kinematic body is a body for a 3D node, okay? It's for putting a body that you can be able to move, using some controls on your keyboard, but the spatial doesn't have that ability. So we'll have the player, and now it's a kinematic body. It's asking you, it's telling you that it needs a collision shape, okay? So we need to right click on it and add a collision to it. It's a collision shape. The collision is just like a node that enables you to be detected by anybody, maybe a wall, so that you don't pass through that particular wall. So the thing we want to do is to go ahead to select this and make it a capsule. So the capsule, I'm going to just bring this up here and open my transform and make this to be 90, and I'm going to scale it down, push this up a bit, push this down a bit like that, push this up and scale this down. So I think I have something very good here, and I'll go ahead to save this. I'm going to right click and save scene as, go back to my scenes, and I will call it a player. So we'll have a player there, so we'll save it again. So the next thing we want to do is to go into the animation player. So if you come in here, you see animation down here, you can take it down, so that is the last thing. So you can drag it down so that it's the last thing here, not under that. So we have here the animation player. So the animation player is where you have all your animations, okay? So when you click on it, you will have access to all the animations on this particular character. So this is how we're going to prepare it for our code. So the first thing we want to do is to just go ahead to look at this idle animation, and we're going to turn on the loop on it. And then for this one, the walk backwards, turn on the loop on it. If you want to play it, you can play it from here to actually see what it looks like. This is the backwards animation, and you can click here, go to the walk forward, and you can turn on this so you can play it and see what it is like. And then the idle animation, let's play the idle animation too. The idle animation is just a very simple animation where you just going up and down. All right, so we'll have this here. So the next thing we want to do is to add what we call the animation tree. So I'm going to add an animation tree. So the animation tree is a node used for advanced animation transition in an animation player. So we already have animation player coming with Blender. So you can actually add it manually if you want to do some animation. We're going to do that in the future in some things we're going to do. So right now the animation player enables you to have access to all those three animations you have here and be able to manipulate it. So let's talk about that. So we have the animation player here, and I'll go ahead to go to, if you click on that, you go to the inspector here and click over there and go down to your animation node blend tree. So when you turn that on, it comes with just an output. So you have to tell it that you want animation. So I'm just going to get the animation. So I have my animation here, and I'm going to add another one, add a third one, because I have 3 animations on this particular character. So I'm just going to drop them here. So the first animation I want will be my sorry, before I do that, I have to do something else. So select this animation tree. Right now the animation tree has access to this, but it doesn't have access to the animation player. You haven't connected this animation player to the animation tree. So you select it and assign it. That's the first thing you do. Assign it to this animation player. Now this makes it possible for you to be able to locate this. So I'm going to have to delete this and add it again. So animation player. So if you click here right now, you have access to the idle animation. Add another one. You have access to the walk backwards. I think I will go with the walk forward first, and then animation. I will go with the walk backwards. Okay. I would like to put the walk this in the center. And let me see something here. You see the reason why I'm doing that, why I had to put it in the center. So the next thing I'm going to add is the blend. I'm going to use blend 3. If you want to blend 2 animations, you use blend 2. But if you want blend 3, you can use blend 3. So I want blend 3 animations. So I'm going to select this one. So this one is the minus sign. Okay, so that's minus this plus. So I have to change this one to backwards. It's going to be easier for me to remember. But I want a minus is back and plus is forward. So I'm going to select this and pull this here, and this one will be 0. That's idle. So that's 0 value here. And then we'll have this here and put this there. And then you can be able to select this and pull this one here. So right now we have already finished putting the nodes for the animation. And to be able to activate that, you need to click on this again and turn on this to be active. So right now it's in 0, and that's the reason why it's in there. So that means if I go positive, it walks forward. If I go down to negative, it walks backwards. So that's the reason why I did it that way. So you see, I did the backwards first here, the idle animation, and then the walk forward animation. So these things will be manipulated in our code. So if you want to blend it together, you can be able to do something like this. So when you want to do some things, when you're walking around the wall or something, you can blend it. So you have this here. So I would like it to be in 0 for the meantime. So but I would like this to be turned off for now. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is to just go ahead to add our code. So we're going to add the code that is going to work, because we have already prepared the animation and how it's going to be when we start working. So what I'm going to do right now is to add a script. So when I go to attach script, I'll right click here on the player and go to attach scripts, and I will remove this and player underscore controller. So I'm going to go here, make sure that it's visual scripting, in case you haven't used visual scripting before. This is what you're going to use, don't use this. So when I do that, I will go down to the path where it's saved. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to go back. So right now I don't have any folder for scripts. So you want to put all your scripts in one folder so you can easily access them. If you want to delete them, you know where to go to find them. So click on that, and I'm going to write scripts. And click on that, and I'm inside the scripts. I have player controller, and click on open and create. So once you do this, you have an empty canvas where you can be able to work. I've introduced you to visual scripting in the beginning of this tutorial, I think the first video. So right now, the first thing we want to get is a physics process. So physics process is to start the entire game. So I'm going to just get that. And the second thing I want to get is the ready. So I want to use the ready for something different. So the ready will just control, I want whenever this game starts, I want the character to begin to enter into the idle animation automatically. That's what I want you to do. So what I'll do here right now is to tell it, whenever you're ready, I want you to start playing the idle animation. So I will select this, and once I click on this animation tree, and the good part about visual scripting is that you can drag codes out of anywhere. So you can just drag this and drop it there, and just connect this, and you have this, and you tell it true. So if you test this, you actually see that, but we're not going to be able to test this yet because we need to put this into our 3D sim where we'll have a camera to be able to see it working. So I'll just go ahead to finish up the codes, and then we do the debugging later. So right now, I want to remember we'll have the physics process. So the physics process, we're going to drag this out, and we're going to select the condition. So remember, this is turning on the idle animation. Okay, and one more thing we have to add here is that we have to go into this animation tree and open this blend parameters, open this blend, and just drag this out, and tell it whenever you're ready, please make sure you are playing the idle animation on your own. Okay, so I'm going to just drop this here. So let me do that again. Bring this condition, and I will remove this from here. So I'm telling you that whenever you start, if something happens, then do something. So what should you do? Whenever an action is pressed, so you right click. When you right click, you have this coming up, and action, and then you can open, and you can be able to put this here. So what we're trying to do right now is to put the code for the arrow keys moving up, down, left, and right. If you want to make it to be WSD, you can do that, but for this tutorial we will be doing just the arrow keys for now. So the thing we're going to use here, we're going to just come up here and go to our action. If you look at here, if you select this, go to action, select this, you have the up, UI up. So if you click on the UI up, that's what is here. So that means when you press this, it should move up. That's what you want it to do. So what you want to do right now is to go ahead to tell it where to move to. So we'll right click on a blank space here and type move and slide. Look at that there. So you open that, and you can be able to put this here. Okay. And when you do that, you want to also select the animation tree and tell it that you want it to start moving with a forward motion. So I'm going to just go ahead to here, and make sure, in case anything causes this to be off, just make sure it's actually turned on, although it's already on here. So go over here, and in the blend, change it to 1 because you want it to start the forward motion. So now the question is, which one is the forward for you? Like, which one is going to be going forward? So you have to go here and check the axis. So let's select the player. So the axis here will have the forward to be the green, the blue, and that's Z axis. So let's check the level 2 and be sure that is the same thing that we'll have. So select the spatial and look at the Z. So if you look at the Z here, the Z is going this way, it's going backwards. So that's the problem that we'll have here. So one of the things we could do is to flip this completely. if we want to. Let me see what we can do. So right now it's coming from here, so we can just go select this and go into your Y and 180 degrees, flip it like this. So right now we have flipped it. Look at what is happening. The Z-axis is pointing up forward right now. Look at that. So it's pointing towards here. So that means if the player is here, the Z is going that way. So it's going to be forward too. So it's going to match this one. This is very important because it will give us error. So the Z is forward, is facing forward, and here also is actually facing forward towards the door that we want it to touch whenever it reaches the end of the game. Alright, so here in the player, we'll just go back here and go back to our scripts. So you have the scripts here, and in the scripts we want to come here and go to our Z, and our Z we're going to give it a value of 3. So whenever you type in, make sure you're typing properly because sometimes it used to jump, and press enter key to be sure and look at it. So there's the first part. Okay, don't worry about testing, it's going to work. So the next thing you want to do is this. You want it to do something else. So you're telling it when it's false. What about when you didn't press that? When it's false, so let's go for condition. And what else should be possible here? So I'm going to select this, right click again, action. If I right click and get my action, I'm going to also still go back to my up. And this time around, I'm going to tell it just released. Okay, so I want, whenever I release my up arrow, I want you to do something. I want you to return back to the idle animation. So right now I'm going to just select this. I'm going to hold Control, select this and this, and press Control D and bring this down and put this here. So it's going to be doing this, but right now I want you to go back to 0. That's the idle animation. That's the thing I want you to do. So all this is very simple. This is the simplest way you can be able to do this. So right now, the next thing I want to do is to go ahead to, let me just push this out and have the next one. Or what about when it's done? So we'll go for the next button. So we'll go for condition, and to save time, I'll just Control D, select Control D and select that. Change this to my down arrow and this one to press and connect it to this. Okay, so I can just right click and do move and slide again. So when I do my move and slide, I'll put this here and put this here, and right now because this is 3, that means this one will be -3. So it usually jumps, like I said, so -3. Oh, it's always jumping. Let's select -3, enter. Okay, so we'll have this here now, and we can just quickly select this. So Control D, drag this down and put it there, and this will be -1 because it's going to be walking backwards this time around. So the next thing we want to do is to get this. What about when it's released? Condition, and you can duplicate this and put this here and change this to just released, and you can select this. So if you've forgotten how to do this, remember you have to go to the animation tree and you get the active animation. Make sure it's still active. For any reason it's turned off, just turn it off. This is not really important, but just put it there. And you have this, then the blend will go back to the idle animation still. So we'll have the forward movement, the backwards movement, and that's pressed and released for this. So now we want to do for the rotation part of it. Okay, so for us to be able to effectively do the rotation part, we need to go into the scene itself to be able to actually see how it works very well. So right now we want to test this code, the forward and the backwards movement, to to see if it's actually working. So to be able to add this guy to the level, I will come over here, I will right click on my spatial and add a child node, and let's type player. So we'll have the player scene there, and open it. So if you go into your 3D scene right now, you will see the player somewhere there. This is actually turned around. So if you go ahead to make this to be 180, let's see if the axis will also change. Okay, I think this is good. So we have changed it to 180 degrees too. So in this particular place. So now we have rotated to 180 degrees here. So it's actually facing this way right now. So we can actually go ahead to let our script be the way it is. So right now we'll have the just press. So we'll have the down arrow, and then we'll have the just release down arrow. And we'll go ahead to add one more thing, that's the rotations. So for rotation, we're going to drag from here. When it's done with this condition, and Control D. I'm going to put this here, and like to do under Control D on it, and put this one here. So this will be the right arrow, and then also right arrow. But this one will be pressed. So we'll have when it's pressed and when it's just released. Okay. So for this one here, we're going to make it rotate. So for rotation now, this is very important. You want to get this from here, right click from here, and drag this to this place. So let's call this rotate, and we're going to use rotate Y. I'm going to just join this to this place. So I would like it to be 0.03 now. And the next rotation I'm going to do is the rotation on the spatial, the entire level 1. So, and I will do my rotate on it on the y-axis and drag this here, and this will now be negative of it, so it's going to be minus 0.03. Okay, so we'll have this here. Let's do it again, minus 0.03, enter. So here we can be able to get this, and this will control and that, and duplicate that and just push it there. So if you look at right now, I'm writing the code right from inside my level 1. I'm no more in the player scene here. I'm in the level 1, but I'm still able to drag out codes from all these things here. So I'm dragging this code based on the rotation of this player within the level 1 here. So I'll just put this here, and I'm going to make this to be about 0.8. So let me just go for 0.7. So it's a blend of the forward and the idle animation. So I'm going to go ahead. Remember that we have dragged this down and we have made this to be right when the right arrow is just released. We want to simply just go back to this idle animation whenever we release that. So it's a very simple thing there. So always do that. Then the last control will be the drag it down condition, will be the left rotation, and I'm just going to go ahead to select the rotation here. Just select these two rotations. So if you have forgotten that, just know you drag it out from here, drop this, and just go rotate on the y-axis. Put that there. So you have to know that if this is 0.03, you know that this one will be minus 0.03. So it's going to be going the opposite direction. And then the spatial, that's the level 1, will now be, will rotate y, and this will now become 0.03. So the idea is that whenever you're rotating this on one axis, the wall should rotate on the opposite axis. Now the reason why this is happening is if you don't do that, when you rotate, a part of the scene will not align properly. Like the player will not be able to face everything properly. So now also I want to remind you that if you're working with this particular project, you want to reduce the number of rooms you have to increase your efficiency of the operation of your animation, of the play of your animation. You want to reduce the scenes or the rooms you're using so that it's easier for Godot to be able to load the scene depending on the laptop you're actually using. So over here, I'm going to just select this set scene and this one, Control D, and just bring this here. And I'll use the same parameters here for the blend 0.7. So, and lastly, I will drag this out, the condition, and this one will not be when you release it, you still go back to your idle animation again. Okay. So we'll have a very long code here, and let's test and see what it will actually give to us this time around. All right, we're going to go back and we're going to see something here. The camera is not yet parented to this, so we're going to parent this to the player, and let's view this from the 3D scene and select the camera and do perspective, and so select the camera, let's move it to a bit closer to the player. Drag it closer and down like that. Okay, and this is good. So right now we want to look at our code. So if you look at the code that we have, the up arrow is pressing properly, while the UI down arrow is not going down properly. So let's see why it's doing that. So if the UI down is pressed through self, you see this thing didn't work, it didn't go in like we planned. So we'll have here to be -3. I told you have to pay attention. Sometimes you think you have actually put it and it hasn't gone in. So -3. So we'll have that there, and this is back animation, true, and this is idle animation. That's for the released. So we'll have a right, and if you notice, it's rotating the other way around, not the way we want it. So here I'm going to change this guy to -0.03. So you have to test this for your own scene because it depends on how your scene is aligned. So it depends on that. If you follow me exactly, then you use these values that I have here. So I have here 0.03. So you see that some of them didn't go in very well. 0.03. Not minus. Okay, so we'll have this here and we'll go down. So if this is -0.03, that means this one will be the one for this will be 0.03. So I missed something here. Control D, put this here, and this will now become, this is the right arrow, so that means here will be left. So where is the left? There's a left there. So left pressed, while this one, Control D, will be left just release. Okay, so I think I missed that when I was doing this. So here is now here is minus and here is positive. That's the global for the spatial for the level 2. Level 1 is 0.03. So here will now be minus for the movement for the left button, and here will now be 0.03. So I believe that should do it. So make sure this is parented. Just drag it again. It seems like it wasn't parented, so now it's parented properly. So the left movement, let's check that again. We'll have right, we'll have left. The left is this should be rotation minus 0.0. So you see the things that we see here. I remember making this to be 0.03 and this one minus 0.03. So you always have to check your code very well and be sure of the values, because sometimes it change. So we'll have that. Then that's all that we need right now. So we have our character over here. Our character can be able to move properly. Now, one of the last things we want to do right now is to add our character to a group. Okay, so we'll just go back to the character because we're still working the character, because we're going to be using this to identify the character whenever it touches maybe the box or a particular thing that we need to specially be sensed by the player or the thing that you actually touched. So to do that, we need to select the place of the kinematic body here, and we're going to go to somewhere new, and that is this node here. In this node, we can be able to have the signals. We don't want to use any signal yet. We want to go for groups. Okay, so in the group, we can click here and type player. Just type it in small caps. Okay, so it's easy for us to identify and add it. Now, this will be very useful for us later, because when the box will touch this character, if every other thing touches it, it will not sense it. But whenever this player, because it's in this group, touches it, it will be able to sense it and then to actually display the game over screen. So if there's any question or whatever is confusing in this character creation process or coding to make this character move, I want you to put it out there in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing here, please do support me by liking, subscribing to my channel. You can also download the assets that we use in creating this, okay? And support me in every way that you can. So right now that we are done with this, I want you all to share this video, and most importantly, in the next video we'll be learning how to create the obstacles that will be obstructing the player and stopping him from moving to the next level that he wants to go into. So that will be a very interesting thing. I think I'm still seeing something. We'll resolve that later. So the most important part is that we have our character moving, and it's moving in a very realistic manner, and I'll see you in the next video.